Well, his whole illness came out of the blue to us. The thing that made it uh, quite the shock was the fact that my brother-in-law had died 2 weeks before, and had died on his birthday, drowned in the backyard for all intents and purposes. So the whole family was crying. Everybody was upset.
My dad, just to kind of relieve the family pressure and tension, took us to his best friend's place in Champaign-Urbana, and he happened to be a doctor. And when I was 2 years old, I had a rash going on. I was not myself, wasn't eating.
He had developed these little rash, these little purple dots, and I said, "Oh, could he be allergic to your cat?" So when the guys came home at about 11, I said to Dan, "Look at this," because he was still fussy. "Look at this." And he looked at it, and he got out a flashlight, and he pushed the skin, and he said, "This is petechiae. He could have spinal meningitis."
Long story short, he ended up diagnosing me with leukemia, ALL, and from there he's like, "Okay, why don't we send you to," he gave us two options. One was at the hospital, the other one was Children's Memorial Hospital.
Instead of doing a spinal tap, they did a blood test, and they came back and said his counts are sky high, 365,000, which is, your usual is like between 10 and 15. His blood was chalky with leukemia cells, and they said it's leukemia. And if I hadn't been holding Philip in my arms, I would have passed out.
About 2 years later, relapsed, and it was super high blood count, and decided to not only do chemotherapy but also radiation, along with a bone marrow transplant, which was very, back in the day, not high success rate. So you can only imagine how my family was going through that stuff.
So we had our bone marrow tested, just like, okay, well, let's see if this is a possibility. And as Phil explained, it was a miracle that there were, of the 6 of us, 4 exact matches. So from there, they decided to switch around his protocol and set the schedule to have the bone marrow transplant, even though there was not a lot of many cases where the isolated the CNS, central nervous system relapse had happened. It wasn't in his bone marrow at that point, but it, as they explained, it had crossed the blood-brain barrier somehow. How, we don't know.
My doctor put it great. He says, "We're going to throw everything at him but the kitchen sink. And then we're going to throw the kitchen sink at him as well." Because they just wanted everything, everything as low as possible. So when you get that new blood, that's the only thing that's there. So we all went to get tested, or actually my family did. And I still, at least I think I remember it, but my parents have told me it so often, that what happened was my doctor came in after everyone got tested and says, "Oh my gosh, this is a miracle. My mom and my second oldest brother and third oldest brother and I are all bone marrow compatibility matches." And so my third oldest brother, Paul, he volunteered to do the bone marrow, and it was best too because it works, if you're more common in age with someone. And so we did that, and that is the extent of, everything went well. I don't really remember much of it. The one thing I do remember is getting the bone marrow and thinking that it looked like spaghetti sauce. But beyond that, it's just a lot of hospitals, a lot of nurses, a lot of treatment, hair falling out. But I was only 2 and 4 at the time, so nothing really remembered about it. But as far as the bone marrow went, that's the extent of that. I mean, I don't think I've ever felt, quote, like the definition of normal. I know, if I know my limitations, I know stuff I can and can't do. I'll never be a athlete like any of my brothers, but at the same time, that never stops me. So it's there's some stuff I can't do, chemotherapy and the bone marrow transplant and radiation. I can't make a fist. I actually had surgery on my hand to see if I could, but from the graft versus host, can't do that. Chemo, and this ear, I have 24-hour ringing in it, 24/7, but I just get used to it. It's I can't tell unless I focus on it. I have cataracts in my eyes, but they don't really bother me at all. There's nothing there. And just, nothing else that's too big. But I have like a little, like from radiation, I got a little extra growing bone in some areas. But beyond that, it's like, stuff happens, but you just deal with it. And so I feel normal, I guess you could say. It's like I don't feel like I'm, impaired in any way. But as far as like the normal day, being able to do like stuff like a regular person can do is like, maybe not fully there, but I've known so many people in the hospital who have like a lot worse than me. So it's like to say normal is like, yeah, people who have, worse off than me think, oh yeah, he's a normal kid. So it's like, then compared to my friends, it's like not so normal, but I'm just looking for what I got so far. So, yeah. If, I don't really see as myself as like the inspirational type. Really, I just, whatever life throws at me, whatever hurdle happens, I'll be optimistic about it, try to get through it. If life throws me lemons, well, then I'll make lemon drop shots and party with my friends and, just work through it. And, yeah, I mean, it's great. I think not that so much as like I'm an inspiration to people, but if I can cause other people to do something good, then that, will affect other people and, that, might help them down the road. So I'm very a helping person. I think that's one of the reasons I went into the hospitality field is just that I want to help people out and any way that I can. If others, get inspired by me to also help people out, then all the better. In like my brother's friends would always come over and they'd always just talk to me and let me be the the little kid brother who tags along, but they'd still always be nice to me. I think part of that was because what I've been through, but I mean I always want to be nice to other people, but I feel like a lot of people have shown their nice kindness to me, and it's just like I feel like going through life and being mad about stuff is just life's too short for that. So why be looking out after yourself when you can help people, and why be down on life or angry with something when in the big picture it seems so small. So it's like I think that's probably just my outlook on life is just let's just make fun and be happy with it, because there's no point in not helping people out. Like, why wouldn't you help people out, I think that's what probably was mostly how it happened. Once you reach your lowest point in life, there's nowhere else to go but up. So that's why I feel like, no matter how bad things get, if they, get to a certain level of badness, they're just going to bounce right up and you're going to be good and set, so.